Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a genuinely fascinating topic. We're going to be unpacking Dr. Choi Won-hilk's dissertation to figure out how ancient Eastern philosophy might just hold the ultimate key to solving some of our absolute biggest modern crises. It's a huge claim, but as you'll see, it makes a lot of sense.
Okay, let's dive right into our roadmap. We are going to trace this incredible shift from Western alienation to Eastern integration in 6 steps. Clashing views of humanity. Transformative contact explained, fractals and human liminality, Daesung's revitalization of order, the 3 integrated realms, and we'll wrap it all up with a paradigm for modernity. Section 1. Clashing views of humanity.
So there's a pretty stark contrast in how humanity relates to the universe, right? In the Western view, there's often this deep emphasis on a separation between humans and nature. It's basically built on a perspective of conquest and domination, highly valuing personal growth and individual achievement, where the Earth is just this resource to be utilized. But on the flip side, the Eastern view is rooted in what we call correlational thinking. It looks at humans as an intrinsic existence, literally a vital mediator between heaven and earth. Instead of conquest, the whole goal is harmony and interaction. In this worldview, heaven and earth give humans their abilities, and we're essentially beings who must repay them for that kindness. This fundamental clash is absolutely crucial because it frames that Western drive for conquest as the root of our modern alienation.
Moving right along to Section 2, Transformative Contact Explained.
Now, you might be wondering, what is the Eastern solution to all this modern alienation? Well, at its core, it's something called Jefyoa, or transformative contact. This is the philosophical perspective that humans are absolutely not separate beings. We don't just live on the Earth, we exist as a totally integrated, interacting part of the universe, right alongside heaven and earth. We are endowed with the outstanding, concentrated energy of heaven and earth. And because we've been given this incredible gift, we actually have an obligation to actively participate in the reconciliation and harmony of the whole universe.
And this brilliantly illustrates what we mean by correlational thinking in action. Heaven, earth, and humanity aren't these isolated, lonely parts. They act as one fluid, interacting system. There's this continuous creative interaction going on where heaven and earth incarnate humans, and humans, in turn, reciprocate. It's like a constant feedback loop, and this dynamic relationship is the absolute fundamental principle connecting the cosmos in Eastern thought.
Which brings us to Section 3, Fractals and Human Liminality.
Let's dig a bit deeper into how this actually works. According to Guanghin Shim's fractal theory, which is a major highlight in the dissertation, the vast universe is mathematically and structurally mirrored right inside of us. The key word here is self-similarity. It's the idea that the overall structure of the universe just repeats itself in its parts. Just like a fractal in math, the complex structure of yin-yang and the 5 phases up in the sky exist equally down here on Earth and right inside human beings. Think of it kind of like binary code. The universe repeats yin and yang like a continuous, endless loop of zeros and ones. What this means is that we aren't just floating around inside the universe, we are an organic, correlational reflection of the entire universe itself. How cool is that?
And because we mirror the universe so perfectly, we possess what's called liminality, the state of being a boundary or transition entity. Under Li Young Ron's theory, this makes us incredibly special. We aren't just passive observers sitting in the audience, we have the autogenous, meaning self-generating, potential to self-change. We serve as the active intelligence that actually understands and participates in the performance of heaven and earth.
Mathematically speaking, it looks a bit like this. Sky is 1, land is 2, and human is 3. But in this correlational framework, 1 plus 2 plus 3 actually equals 1 prime. Humans act as this unique third entity, the ultimate bridge that mediates heaven and earth. We take those segmented parts and bring them back into a unified, integrated whole. Literally, we are the transition point that completes the circuit.
All right, Section 4, Daesung's revitalization of order.
To really ground this idea of human obligation, let's look at this incredibly powerful quote from the Doctrine of the Mean. It tells us that only those who practice extreme sincerity in the world can fulfill their sincerity, helping the incarnation of heaven and earth and participating together with them. It's a beautiful thought, right? And interestingly, the source material notes how this ancient Eastern concept perfectly echoes Alfred North Whitehead's modern organic philosophy of creativity. In Whitehead's view, creativity is the ultimate category of interaction, which stands in totally stark contrast to Western monistic philosophies that just focus on some static absolute.
Now, Daesung thought takes this and applies it through something called the revitalization of order.
Back when Eastern ideas faced the massive systematic shock of Western modernization, this became their autogenous, homegrown answer. It's a mechanism of continuous transformation. It actively reorganizes those segmented, broken worldviews we talked about earlier into a fully integrated, harmonious reality. It's basically a homegrown path to modernity that completely bypasses Western alienation.
Let's map out how this works in Section 5, the 3 integrated realms.
So, the crucial point here is seeing exactly how Daesun thought meticulously organizes existence into 3 distinct yet deeply interwoven realms. First up, in the heavenly realm, we have Inshin Sangangse, which translates to divine incarnation in human form. Then, moving to the earthly realm, we find Changji Sangangshin, representing the profound sincerity, reverence, and faith of heaven and earth. And finally, in the human realm, we have Sangsa Jain, meaning achievement depends on humanity. This perfect integration shows us that human action isn't just a byproduct, it's the absolutely necessary final piece that completes the divine and earthly blueprints.
And finally, Section 6, a paradigm for modernity.
So what's the ultimate takeaway for us today? This ancient correlational thinking isn't just history, it is a vital toolkit for right now. Think about our environment. It means overcoming our ecological crises by shifting away from that human-centered conquest and moving toward a mutually beneficial coexistence with nature. In education, it calls for a totally integrated methodology. Character education that actually values harmony with the community over pure, isolated individual achievement. And in the philosophy of technology, utilizing concepts like fractal theory can help us find a brand new scientific paradigm. We can actually ensure that our rapid technological development contributes to cosmic harmony rather than just alienating us even further.
Which leaves us with a truly provocative question. Can adopting this Eastern transformative contact view actually save our fragmented modern world? Think about it. If we truly started seeing ourselves not as conquerors, but as the vital, intelligent bridge between heaven and earth, how much would that change the way we build our future? It's a lot to chew on. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning, and I'll catch you next time.